Welcome back to NCERT class 9th. Chapter number 2 is matter around us pure. Children, in the previous class we studied suspension means what, and also what is mean by colloidal solution and what are the properties of it, and Tyndall effect means what. All such things we came to know. In today's class, children, we are moving with the another part of the, that is major part of this chapter, you can say, that is what, separation techniques or methods, you can say. A mixture will contain more than two substances. So in order to remove the components from the mixture, we have a different methods. You know, children, whatever the substance which we will get from the nature, they are not chemically pure. And in order to remove, suppose if the particles are bigger enough to see our naked eyes, means we can go easily by methods like a filtration, sieving, such methods. Suppose if the particles are very small, at that time we need to use some special methods. Especially, children, here in the first case, how can we obtain a colored component? Here colored component means here dye from a blue or black ink. You know, children, a dye is nothing but it's a colored component or colored substance, you can say. Generally, this dye is not a single color. It is made by more than one substance in it. So in order to understand this, first we need to do a small activity, children. It's a very simple. We need to take a beaker. In that we have to pour half of the beaker. We have to fill the beaker with water. How much level? Up to half of a beaker we have to fill. After completing, that is water, we need to use a watch glass to cover that beaker. And in this watch glass, means here watch glass is a component or a thing which we'll use in the laboratories, children. So in the watch glass we have to place a dye. A small amount of a dye we have to place. So now at this moment we have to heat the beaker. You have to remember that we are not directly heating the watch glass. Through the beaker, we are boiling or heating the water. Once the water starts that is boiling, whatever the dye which contained water, it starts going to evaporate to the surroundings. Evaporate means here that is changing its state from liquid to gaseous. Understanding, children, my point? So what we did first, we have taken a beaker and we have filled it with the water. Then after doing so, we have placed one watch glass. In that we have kept what? A small amount of dye. And when we heat this beaker, it started what? Separating the liquid component from the colored thing. Isn't it, children? So what is our conclusion? Yes, we can say that here we are removing a solid particles from a dye. Isn't it, children? By evaporation method, what happened? Whatever the dye which has contained a liquid, it all evaporated to the surroundings. So this is called one evaporation. Means the colored components can be obtained from a blue or any blank ink. We need to use a which method, children? Evaporation. What is that? Evaporation. So in the first chapter we discussed what is mean by evaporation. That is changing of a liquid state to gaseous state on heating is called what? Evaporation. So here also what happened? On heating, whatever the dye contained a liquid, it has changed its state to gaseous, and it is called what is a evaporation. Got it, children? And here such a method we can apply for obtaining a salt, children. Isn't it, children? From the seas we can get a salt. by using a evaporation method. And here the volatile substance, isn't it children, are going to be separated from the non-volatile substance. Here volatile substance is nothing but a solvent, isn't it children, and the non-volatile substance, nothing but a solute, is going to be separated. Non-volatile solute, that is what colored component, is going to be separated. Is it clear children? Okay, once again I will explain. Here this method is mainly to separate a component, that is for example dye, from a blue or a blanking. At that time we need to go a evaporation method. Here what we have to do, we have to take the component and we have to indirectly heat that. After that is continuous heating to the beaker, what happens, it will start changing into the state. It changes its state from liquid to gaseous. Whatever the liquid which has contained in the dye, now it has changed, that is evaporated to the surroundings. Only what happened, a colored component is left in the watch glass. This is our what conclusion, isn't it children? What are all escaped from the watch glass? Only a small powder like structure which is going to be present, which is nothing but a residue, that is blue or black is going to be present, colored thing is going to be present. Children, let us do a simple activity. It will help us to understand how can we remove a colored component from a blue or blacking. Here we are using a blacking children. I have taken candle and a small amount of water is added to the spoon. And to it we are adding now ink drops. Isn't it children? A small amount of ink is added to this spoon containing a small amount of water. After adding, we need to heat. So I am going to heat this mixture using a candle nearly 3 to 4 minutes. Understanding children what we did? We added water, ink drops and started heating. So after 3 to 4 minutes, the quantity of water you can check children. It has little bit decreased. So if we go on heating this same mixture continuously at nearly 15 to 16 minutes, the water from this mixture completely escapes. It changes its state, but only a residue, that is black residue, is going to left behind in the spoon. This is a method of you can say evaporation, where using this evaporation method we can separate the colored components from the mixture. So dear children, this is a simple and easiest way to understand how it actually works. You can look now, isn't it children? A residue is left behind. That is evaporation. That is how can we obtain a colored component from a blue or a blacking. Now we will discuss how can we separate a cream from milk, isn't it children? In our daily life we are going to familiar with the drinking of a milk, isn't it children? It contains a cream, means in the market different kinds of milk are going to available children. Depending upon the amount of fat present in the milk, we are going to name with the different names. That is, it might be a full cream, toned milk, double toned milk. These all different what names for a milk. Why we did? Because based upon their amount of fat present in that. So here we are separating a cream from the milk. So in order to understand this, we should know a centrifugation process. So we will do it with a simple activity children. What we have to do at the very first stage, we have to take a full cream milk in a test tube. Then we have to churn it with a milk churner, isn't it children? Means we can use a centrifuge machine. Suppose in the dairy, if it is in the dairy, means definitely they'll use such a machine. Isn't it, children? What is this centrifuging machine means? It is going to spin rapidly, children. So by doing so, we can separate the solid particles from the mixture, isn't it? So once after churning the cream, it is going to separate, children. The cream is going to be settled, that is denser particles are going to settle down, whereas the light particles are going to float, that is staying at the top of the mixture. The same thing is going to go in the centrifugation process. So what is the meaning of a centrifugation, children? Centrifugation is a method. Here the solid particles can be separated from the liquid by spinning it rapidly using either by milk churner or by using a centrifuging machine. And here this mainly works on the principle of that is denser particles are forced to the forced to settle down, whereas the lighter one are going to stay at the top of the milk, and which we will get it as the what? Butter. By doing so, we are going to take it, that is what? Butter from the milk, isn't it, children? And the main applications of this method are, first I'll write centrifugation definition, children. Means it's a method of separating solid particles from liquid by spinning rapidly. So what are its applications, children? The first one, it is widely used in the laboratories, children, especially in the diagnostics laboratories. To examine the urine or a blood, we will use a centrifugation method. To test blood sample or urine, centrifugation method is used. And the next one is to separate butter from milk. Will use this centrifugation method. At home means milk churners will use. At dairies means centrifugation devices we will use. And the third one is what? That is in the washing machines, children. Washing machines, they will mainly work on this centrifugation principle. Means here, in order to remove water from the clothes, wet clothes, centrifugation method is going to be applied, children. Is it clear, children? What is mean by centrifugation and for which mixtures we can apply this method, and also what are its application? Especially in order to remove the cream from the milk, centrifugation method is applied. That is simple, children. We need to use a centrifugation device or any milk churners. When we spin it rapidly, what happens? Or if we do churning that mixture, the lighter particles are going to stay at top of the mixture, and by doing so we can separate the components from the mixture. Children, now we will understand centrifugation process. The centrifuge is a machine that rotates at very high speed, and by centrifugal force, substances of different densities are separated, and the heavier are going to settle at down, and this method is used to separate suspended particles of a substance from a liquid. And the process of centrifugation is widely used in dairies to separate cream from milk or curd.